Hello, I'm Damar Setiawan with name J1E020014, and I will talk and explain about language acquisition. First, learning a language isn't like learning that the moon orbits the earth. One fact and you're done. Instead, it's many tasks across all levels of language, such as phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and so much more. There are many differences between child's language and adult language acquisition. Some linguists think this happens by entirely different processes. And first, I'm going to talk about the child's language acquisition. The first step is by 30 weeks in the womb. You can feel the sound waves through the amniotic fluid. It is like listening to a radio, but your head is under the water. And second, shortly after birth, babies are more interested in language sound than non-language sounds. They also pay more attention to the voice of the person who gestate them, and people who speak the same language than other voices and language. Not long after that, babies with sign language around them pay more attention to signs. Studies on infants stated that babies pay a bit more attention when they notice something new. We can tell if a baby is paying attention using a method called the high amplitude sucking. Basically, baby will stop their pacifiers faster when they are interested and slower if they are bored. And next, after babies begin to figure out how their hands and their mouth works, they start to babbling. Babbling is what you think as a classic baby talk. Kids generally say their first word or two around 1 year of age. Lately, when they are kids, they learn to figure language and reconstruct it as a system inside their heads. In 1958, Jean-Bergo Gleason created the word test. It proves that kids just doesn't only mimicking the people around them, but must have figured out generalization or rules about how language works without ever being taught to them. In general, children follow a similar set of milestones within a range of age, from paying attention and babbling all the way up of the levels of double meaning, tact, and formal situations. These milestones are why linguists often talk about the critical period when it comes to learning language for the first time. However, linguists are still debating about exactly how long is the critical period last, since we learn different parts of language at the different times. Some unfortunate real-life situations have given linguists insight to the critical period. For instance, when deaf babies are raised with access to sign language from a very young age, they follow the same developmental stage as their hearing peers. But because of prejudice against deaf people, some deaf babies are raised without a sign language until their later childhood, adolescence, or even their adulthood. This could address in cognitive difficulties for the remainder of their lives. However, as long as children are exposed to an accessible language, they do a great job with multiple language. In fact, there's no cognitive limit to how many languages a child can learn during their critical period. And next, I'm going to talk about the adult language acquisition. Unlike children, the situation is more varied when it comes to learning a digital language at later age. We can learn a second language or more by scaffolding off languages we already know, and our teachers can use existing language to explain things. On the other hand, the grammar of your existing language can also influence your learning. This is known as language transfer. Learning one language at home and a second through formal schooling is a path that's overrepresented in the research, but actually an anomaly. Instead, people learn another language in mid to late childhood or adolescence outside of formal schooling. People who learn and retain multiple languages are bi or multilingual. And that's all from me. That's about the language acquisition I can talk about. And thank you.